I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Walsh, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine Law statement. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met for this meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Oradell. Notice of this meeting was filed with the Record and Town News, and all persons requesting such notice. Mr. Darian, would you read the mission statement?
The Oradell Public School District is dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. The district is committed to providing opportunities for social, emotional, and academic discovery to foster curiosity, courage, and character. Our goal is to prepare our students to become lifelong learners who are self-directed, resilient, productive, responsible citizens.
Roll call.
Mrs. Negum,
Here.
Mr. Griffin, Mrs. Levy,
Here.
Mrs. Norian,
Here.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Here.
Mrs. Walker,
Here.
Mr. Walsh,
Here.
Mr. Darian,
Here.
Mrs. Nichols.
Here, open to the public for agenda items only. If you're joining us on Zoom, please raise your digital hand, and when we call on you, unblock your camera. Not seeing any, we will move to the superintendent's report. Mike.
It's been an incredibly busy month for the district. Hopefully, as you walked in today, you noticed that our access control system has been fully upgraded, and it now is integrated with our camera system, which just adds an extra layer of security for us. With regard to our students, families are attending goal-setting conferences this week. Conferences were held all day on Monday, and staff also had conferences on 2 evenings to ensure that we could accommodate dual-working households. Our 4th grade through 6th grade students took the language arts portion of the Start Strong assessment today. Tomorrow, those same students will take the mathematics portion, and on Friday, 6th grade will take the science assessment. Teachers will have immediate data regarding student performance on the Start Strong because there are no open-ended prompts. It's a fully multiple choice test this year, so teachers will be able to immediately log in and see how their students performed. Parents, on the other hand, will receive paper reports from the state in about a month. One of the biggest highlights of the week for me was the fact that our special area teachers were able to spend Monday afternoon with their counterparts in River Edge. They collaborated to share curricular ideas and teaching practices. I reached out to Mrs. Danahy, the incoming superintendent of River Edge, at the end of the day to share how pleased I was and to convey my thoughts that I hope that we'll continue to do more activities together to allow our staff to learn from each other. And finally, in May, we always talk about Teacher Appreciation Month. And in January, we recognize the school board, but October's always so busy that we tend to miss that October is actually National Principals Month. So if you happen to run into Mrs. Hawley, please make sure you recognize her efforts towards getting us off to a solid start this year.
Just a reminder that the New Jersey School Boards Association virtual workshop is coming up. It's going to start on Tuesday, October 26th. And if you need help logging in or any questions, feel free to contact me.
Thank you. We'll move to minutes. Review of September 22nd. Any questions or comments, please email Mr. Marmara. We have approval of meeting minutes September 1st.
I move that we approve the minutes of September 1st.
Second.
Any questions? Call the question.
Mrs. Negum,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Abstain.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't here, John. I abstain.
Abstain.
Okay, before we move to committee reports, we have to go into a quick closed session. So does someone want to make a motion?
So moved. I make
I
a motion
second
to
it.
go in.
Second by Mr. Walsh. It's going to be quick. We should be back within 10 minutes at the most.
don't have any,
Okay, I need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, Catherine and John again. Okay, moving to committee reports. Mr. Darian, would you take administrative?
Yes, I move A1.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Call the question?
Mrs. Needham,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Darian?
Yes, I have nothing to report. We have no B&G meeting since our last meeting. So with that, I'd like to introduce items B1 for facility use.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Call the question?
Mrs. Needham,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Curriculum, Mrs. Norian?
Yes, we've not been able to have any meetings, but we will shortly. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve C1.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Call the question?
Mrs. Needham,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Finance, Mrs. Shapiro?
Committee met on September 29th. There are minutes in your packet. Just a quick review. We discussed, and this comes up from time to time, the auditorium, like renovation. And as usual, the vendors think we're putting on Broadway and quote us crazy numbers. But I think this will now, we discussed some funding, and this will probably go to Buildings and Grounds as we continue to make a plan to see how we can, improve this room. We discussed some other things, including the need for some more technology and the beginning of course, starting the budget season and how we'll approach that. I would like to make a motion to approve items D1 through D6.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Call the question?
Mrs. Needham,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Delegate report, Mr. Walsh?
Nothing to report.
Personnel, Mrs. Walker?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to present F1, but before I do that, I just wanted to confirm on E1 and 2, the to be determined has now been determined at $14.30.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions? Call the question?
Mrs. Needham,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Policy, Mrs. Levy?
Yes, I am offering the second reading and adoption of the policies 5141.10, face coverings, and 5141.11, vaccination and testing.
I'll
So,
second it.
Second by Mr. Walsh. Any questions? Mrs.
Just
Shapiro?
a comment. There are times where, as a board member, you may not agree with everything exactly as written, but as a board, we have to follow state law and executive order. So while I might not personally agree with everything exactly as written, I support following the law, and I look forward to the day where we get through this pandemic and we can rescind these. That's all I'm going to say.
Any other questions? Call the question?
Mrs. Negum,
Yes.
Mrs. Levy,
Yes.
Mrs. Norian,
Yes.
Mrs. Shapiro,
Yes.
Mrs. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mr. Darian,
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Public relations, Mr. Griffin isn't here, but has public relations met at all, Mrs. Walker? No.
No, we have not met.
Okay. And task force, he is not here either, but maybe we'll set up something for when he's back at some point. At this time, open to the public. Please raise your digital hand and unblock your camera when we call on you. Okay. Any old or new business? Mrs. Norian?
I'd just like to follow up on what Mr. Memora said with regards to the school board convention and encourage any and all of us to log in, because there are a number of courses that are presented there, as well as different ideas that can be brought to the district. And we're all signed up for it, so it's a valuable resource.
Snoring, are they recording all of them or only some of them?
I believe they're recording all of them.
Okay, so we could review
You
them.
could review it at a different time, yeah.
Thank you.
Also in tonight's packet is a copy of the agenda, just for your future reference.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
I just have a quick aside. I don't know if any of you had read the most recent New Jersey School Board's notice that we had received. And there was 2 articles, but this one stood out. It was written by Larry Feinsod, who is the executive director. And the title is, "Let's Restore Civility at Board of Education Meetings." And it's a very poignant topic at this point that we've seen in local newspapers, and it's reached the New Jersey School Board. So if you do have it, and it's very well written. And then the other thing was the blue ribbon schools that have been appointed this past school year. And some of the ones in our area were, let's see, it was Closter. Closter was just awarded a blue schools, and then they have it throughout the state of New Jersey, but that only is New Jersey. It's throughout the country that these blue ribbon schools are appointed. So just a little note aside.
Thank you. Any other old or new business? Mrs. Levy?
Thank you. I just want to say, and I'm going to maybe mess up the name, our new art teacher, who I know is making a huge impression on the students. I hear you might have seen as you walked in the main building, all of the pinwheels. Some of them were starting to get taken home today. But I just know that it was a really nice addition to have that outside the school. All of the kids were so excited to go out and see where their pinwheel was. And I know the upperclassmen, the 6th graders got to help and, put them out and everything. And I think that made a huge splash for the new art teacher. So I just wanted to say thank you and congratulate her on a great job.
Mrs. Shapiro?
Sorry, mic on. I just had a question for Ms. Bozius. The testing that they're doing right now, this isn't something like the year-end testing where like districts compare, we ranked here. This is really, the goal is to identify needs of students since the pandemic, this isn't, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, we're not
Okay, so-
ranking anybody
so-
based on this. It's not the
We don't-
purpose of it, right?
we don't know what data will be fully released.
Okay.
Okay, but remember that the reason we're doing it is not because the state just said, hey, this would be a good way to assess. This was part of what we had to agree to do as a state to not give testing last year.
Okay.
So we did have to have some form of testing to show that we were holding ourselves accountable. This takes the place of that. Because we weren't one of the districts that chose to optionally give it last year, I'm not even, what I think I understand about it right now is that it doesn't even rank the same way. It's not partial meeting, it's needs help, needs more help on this
It needs a
area.
lot of help, and that's
Correct.
it. I think, and
Yes.
that's fine, right, okay. Thank you for that.
Any other old or new business?
Uh,
Mrs. Levy?
Thank you, sorry. Are they going to do testing at the end of the year, or has that been decided for sure?
Yes, we actually already have testing dates. So on the front page of the website, there is a document called Standardized Testing, Oradell Public School Districts, and the bands are already there for when we'll be testing.
Okay, great, thank you.
I just have a comment. I mentioned this the other night, at the candidate night. We've had no attendees virtually and none in person, and the sound of the silence is deafening, or I should say the applause of the silence is deafening. I mean, that's a good indication that the community is not upset at large, and as a result, they're not attending our meetings and they're not complaining. And, that's one of the best things we can hope for. We're the people that, we grease the wheel, and if it doesn't squeak, no one says thank you, but once it starts to squeak, everyone complains, right? So I just like to say that, it appears that we're doing a good job, especially in this climate where other districts are having issues and disruptions and turmoil and so on and so forth is making the news, and we haven't experienced any of that. So I just wanted to call that out.
Knock on wood.
Can I follow up to that? Greg, I too am enjoying the applause of all of the crickets. It's nice to have calm and peace, but I think at the same time that the community should always be reminded you are always welcome to give feedback. Come in, send an email, whatever it is, that your voice matters. You might not always get what you want. I don't always get what I want, but I think it's important for people to feel heard. So you're always welcome to the meeting or to reach out to the board or the superintendent. And don't feel disgruntled on a soccer field. Come and speak. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any need for a closed session?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Walker. All in favor?
That's all right, you can be.
Aye.
All right.
Hi.